this is you. Dirt in your teeth, blood under your fingernails, the smell of wet clay, rusted metal, and something older, something rotting, filling your lungs with every shallow breath you allow yourself. You are 31 years old, 5 feet 10, and you weigh exactly 172 pounds. Every ounce of it is deliberate. Every scar on your body has a lesson attached to it. You don't carry a rifle. You carry a HK-45C suppressed sidearm on your dominant hip, a titanium push dagger taped against your left forearm, and a headlamp you haven't turned on in 40 minutes. Because light gets you killed down here. You move by sound, by pressure, by the change in temperature against the back of your hand when a tunnel bends left versus right. The guys back at Bragg used to call it a gift. Your old team sergeant, a thick-necked Georgian named Holloway, used to say you weren't human, said you belonged underground, said it like a compliment. You never told him it started as a punishment. You grew up in Hazard, Kentucky. Not metaphorically, that's the actual name of the town. And it fits like a glove on a corpse. Your father worked the mines until the mine stopped working him back. He came home one Tuesday smelling like diesel and shame, sat down at the kitchen table, and didn't get up for 3 days. You were 11. Your little sister Danny was 8. Your mother had already been gone 2 years by then. Cancer took her quietly, the way it always does, as if apologizing for the damage. So you did what boys in Hazard do when the world collapses around them. You went underground, not mining, not yet. The old rail tunnels, the condemned drainage systems beneath the county fairgrounds, the storm networks that ran like arteries beneath the whole eastern ridge. You mapped them. Every branch, every dead end, every pocket of breathable air, and every pocket that wasn't. You did it alone, with a hand-drawn notebook and a flashlight that cost $4 from the gas station on Route 15. You weren't running away. You were practicing. For what you didn't know then, you know now. The Army found you at 19, or rather, a recruiter named Sergeant Diaz found you working a double shift at a roadside garage, rebuilding a carburetor with your eyes half closed from exhaustion. He watched you for 10 minutes without saying anything. Then he slid a business card across the hood of the truck you were working on. "You're wasted here," he said. You didn't argue. Ranger School broke 40% of your class. It broke them emotionally, physically, spiritually. It reached into men who thought they were iron and showed them the soft pink meat underneath. You watched guys quit in the rain, watched a former college linebacker weep silently into a mud puddle at 0300 because his body simply refused the next hill. You kept moving, not because you're superhuman, because you grew up in tunnels, underground, in the dark, alone. Because Ranger School's worst moments, the sleep deprivation, the claustrophobic field exercises, the psychological pressure to quit, were Tuesday mornings, compared to being 11 years old with a dead mother, a broken father, and a little sister who needed you to hold it together. Suffering isn't impressive to you. It's just weather. The team they assigned you to after your 3rd deployment was designated Echo 6, Black Budget Joint Special Operations. The kind of unit that doesn't appear in any public record and whose members have a habit of developing sudden, permanent career changes if they talk too much at reunions. 4 men, including you, Graves, your team lead, former Delta, 42 years old with a jaw like a concrete block and a habit of humming old jazz standards right before a firefight. Calm the way deep water is calm. You'd follow him into a volcano. Priest the medic. Real name Thaddeus Okoye, but no one called him that. Nigerian American, 6'3", hands so steady he could suture a wound in a moving helicopter during a thunderstorm. He carried trauma behind his eyes like a man who'd seen things that rewired him permanently. He prayed before every op, quietly, without asking anyone to join him. Ren, the breach expert, 26. Youngest person in the unit by 5 years. She'd come up through 160th SOAR as a crew chief before transitioning to ground operations through a pathway so classified that even the 4 of you weren't supposed to know the details. She wore a small silver compass on a chain around her neck that she never explained. She was faster with a breaching charge than anyone you'd ever seen, and she laughed, genuinely laughed, in exactly the moments when most people stopped breathing. And then there's you. The point man. You go first, always. Into the unknown, into the dark, into the tunnel before anyone else. Your job is to see what's coming before it sees you. To neutralize threats silently, map the space kinesthetically, and signal back to the team whether they're walking into a room or a grave. It's not a job most people want. It's the only job you've ever understood. The op brief comes through on a Wednesday in a room with no windows somewhere beneath Incirlik Air Base. A network, 43 kilometers of hand-dug tunnels beneath the border. Construction estimated over 8 years, funded by a ghost cell that intelligence services have been chasing like smoke for 3 years. Weapons, caches, comms, nodes, and this is the part that changes your breathing an American asset. Signal intercept suggests he's alive. 12 days in captivity. His name is redacted in the file you're shown, but the photo isn't. You recognize the face. You don't say anything. You close the folder. You look at Graves. Graves looks back at you. He knows. Of course he knows. Graves always knows. He gave you exactly 3 seconds to process it before he said, quietly, "You're still point." You nod. The man in that photo is Marcus Webb, former 75th Ranger, the closest thing to a brother you've ever had who didn't share your blood. You served 2 deployments together before his transition to intelligence work. He taught you to play chess in a fob in Kandahar, losing badly every time, but refusing to stop. He was at your side when you got the call about your sister's accident. He owes you $40 from a bet about whether a certain staff sergeant could eat 6 MRE packs in under 10 minutes. He is alive. 12 days underground. You are going to get him. Insertion is textbook. Haho jump. 7 kilometers offset. Ground link up with a Kurdish intelligence contact who gives you the entry coordinates and immediately disappears back into the night like he was never there. The 4 of you move through dry scrubland under a moon that's being generous, reaching the primary entry point, a collapsed agricultural structure over a false concrete floor in just over 90 minutes. Graves doesn't give a speech. He never does. He just looks at you. You drop into the hole. The first thing that hits you is the smell. Every tunnel has a personality, and this one's personality is hostile. Diesel exhaust layered over human habitation, cooking oil, body odor, and beneath it all, something chemical, fertilizer-based. Your mind catalogs it automatically. Passive explosive precursors, likely stored further in. Don't use your headlamp near any white powder. Don't create sparks. The tunnel is 1.2 meters high. You know this because your skull brushes the ceiling when you try to stand. You move in a combat crouch, weight on the balls of your feet, knees absorbing every step. Your breathing is controlled. 4 counts in, 4 counts out. A storage room, rough wooden shelving along one wall. A generator, off. A folding table, 2 lanterns, extinguished, and a man sitting with his back against the far wall, knees to his chest, head down, breathing. Your pulse doesn't spike anymore when you find a live body in the dark. That instinct got trained out of you years ago. What replaces it is colder, more efficient, a rapid calculation, threat assessment, range, angles, exits. But then the man shifts, and even in the absolute dark, you recognize the posture, the way he holds his left shoulder slightly higher than his right from an old rotator cuff injury that never healed quite right. Marcus. You cross the room in 4 steps and crouch in front of him. You press your hand to his mouth before he can react. His eyes open wide, wild, cornered animal terror, and then they find yours in the dark. Something in him breaks open and reassembles in about 2 seconds flat. You feel his exhale against your palm. Slow, deliberate, controlled. There he is. You pull your hand back. $40, you whisper. His voice is a wreck, dry, cracked, 12 days of disuse, but he manages it. Double or nothing. You almost smile. Almost. You get him to his feet. He's damaged ribs, probably too cracked. Movement labored. Left eye swollen, nearly shut. But he's coherent, oriented, and when you press the push dagger into his hand, his grip is solid. You signal back to the team. Package located. Extraction phase. That's when the generator kicks on. Light floods the tunnel from behind you, the main branch. Not the room you're in, and with it comes sound. Boots. At least 4 sets, maybe 6, moving with purpose. Not a patrol, too fast, too directed. They know you're here. Your mind does the math in the time it takes your heart to beat once. Compromised entry. Either the Kurdish contact, a sensor you missed, or a signal intercept you were fed deliberately. Doesn't matter which. The exit route is now a kill box. You look at Marcus. He reads it in your face. Other way out, he rasps. Working on it, you say. You reach back through the dark for the map in your vest pocket. Not a digital map, never digital on a tunnel op. Paper only, and your fingers find the grid reference. Ren marked before insertion. Emergency egress. A drainage outlet 400 meters northeast. Rated as possible but not confirmed. Possible. In tunnels, possible is paradise. Ren's voice comes through the bone conduction earpiece. 2 words. Calm as a Sunday morning. They're flanking. Copy. You breathe. Rally on me. We go northeast. Graves, bring priest. Cover the rear. Moving, Graves says. And under his breath, almost inaudible, a few bars of round midnight. You grip Marcus by the forearm, position him behind you, and start moving. The tunnel ahead is unmapped. Yours now. Every step is a negotiation between speed and silence, and you are losing the luxury of silence with every second the footsteps behind you grow louder. Your headlamp stays off, you navigate by fingertips on the right wall, and the minute changes in airflow against your face. A T-junction. You feel the draft from the left, northeast. You go left. Behind you, a suppressed shot from Graves, a short cry, silence. 1 down, Priest says quietly. Rear contact, approximately 20 meters. Keep moving, you say. The tunnel narrows, 1 meter wide. You turn sideways, pulling Marcus through, and you feel the walls press against your chest and shoulder blades. Simultaneously, and for exactly 1 second, the 11-year-old from Hazard surfaces. The one who went underground not because he was brave, but because he was terrified of how broken everything above ground was. The one who built maps in the dark because maps mean you know where the exits are. You breathe through it. The tunnel widens again. Automatic fire erupts behind you, unsuppressed. Someone's abandoned subtlety and the sound in the confined space is catastrophic, concussive, your ears ringing immediately. You hear Ren curse sharply. Then, I'm good, Priest. Left side. Contact down, Priest says. Flat, calm. The voice of a man operating past where adrenaline reaches. 30 meters. Marcus stumbles. His hand grabs your shoulder. You take his weight without breaking stride. 20 meters. The shooting stops. Ren is already placing charges. Graves covers the rear junction. Priest has his hand on Marcus's other arm. You look back at your team in the thin light bleeding through the grate. Graves has blood on his neck. Not his, you can tell by the angle. Priest's knuckles are torn raw. Ren has a crease burn along her left cheek that'll scar, and she probably won't care at all. And Marcus, 12 days underground, still breathing. Ren, you say. She blows the grate. You come out of the earth like something that was never supposed to see daylight again. The night air hits your face, and it is extraordinary, cold, and vast, and indifferent to everything that just happened beneath it. Stars overhead, wind from the northeast carrying dust and distance. Your legs carry you across rocky ground in a low sprint. The team moving in practice silence around you. Marcus, between you and Priest. Exfil coordinates burning in your memory. 3 kilometers, 22 minutes, 1 vehicle, 1 pilot who asks no questions. You make it in 19. In the back of the vehicle, Marcus sits across from you. Priest's hands work, his ribs rapping, assessing the quiet efficiency of a man who treats a body like an engine, with respect for function, without sentimentality. Marcus looks at you. How'd you find me? He asks. You think about the photo in the redacted folder, about the 11-year-old with the $4 flashlight, about the mine that broke your father, about Danny who healed, about every tunnel you've ever mapped, every exit found by fingertip and airflow, and sheer stubborn refusal to accept there wasn't one. I know where the exits are, you say. He nods. Like that explains everything. It does. 3 weeks later, back at Bragg, 3 men in suits debrief you, no names given. They ask about tunnel layout, branch structure, the caches you passed. You answer in precise clinical terms, drawing from memory with a clarity that makes them glance at each other. After the oldest one, silver-haired, carrying decades of decisions in the lines of his face, looks at you and says, we have another network, larger, more complex. We need someone who can, I know, you say. You're already thinking about the map. That night, you sit on the steps outside the barracks, alone, and think about Hazard, Kentucky, about a boy who went underground because everything above ground was ruins, about how that boy became something the world built tunnels to stop, and then, when that wasn't enough, built deeper ones. Your hands are steady. Your ears still ring, faintly, from the gunshot in the dark. Marcus is 2 buildings over, sleeping for the first time in 12 days. You think about how the world keeps building deeper tunnels, and how you keep finding the exits. You look up at the stars, ancient, indifferent, countless, and breathe the open air of the surface, where other people live their whole lives never knowing what's underneath. You'll be back underground by Thursday. You wouldn't have it any other way.